Hey everyone, it's Nicole McGuirk with this week's From Start to Finish video brought to you by 2peasinabucket.com. This week's layout, I wanted to do something a little bit different, and I have a whole bunch of ideas bookmarked and sketched out, and one of them that I had was creating a really bright, fun layout on a black background. And so I decided to go for a really simple background with lots of bright splashes of color with die cut hearts and doodlebug buttons and jewels. For my layout, I chose these circle photos. I thought the circle photos would help with the movement of the design a little bit more than, say, a rectangular or square photo. Then I have this really fun die from My Favorite Things. It's one of my very favorite dies from them. Great heart designs. I picked out a whole bunch of different buttons from Doodlebug, some label stickers from October Afternoon, and then I already pre-printed my date on an October Afternoon sticker and my journaling on a little bit bigger one. So again, I'm sticking with a really, and for my stamps, I'm going to be using the September Studio AE stamp set Family Is. I thought I would use another one there, but I ended up not using that. Then I machine stitched around the black cardstock that's matted on the white. The black cardstock is trimmed to an 11-inch square, and then I just machine stitched around that about 3 times, I think. And it adds yet just another like layer or border to the design. Then I'm just going to adhere my black and white photos. Now how I got these into the circle shape is I went ahead and converted them to black and white in my photo editing software. I happen to use Photoshop. And then I simply punched out the smaller photos with a 2.5-inch circle punch. And the larger photo is about I want to say approximately 4 inches in diameter. And I used a Colossal to cut that into a circle shape. It's a very old tool, but I still get a lot of use out of it. Next, I'm just going to use one of the stamps from the September Studio AE stamp set that says Love You, and I'm just going to stamp that right there at the top of my journaling sticker. Adds just a fun little customized touch to that sticker. And then I'll adhere it to my page, trying to figure out where I want to put that, and I'll place it up near the top. Again, I'm kind of keeping my circle embellishments going kind of at an angle from the top right to the bottom left. It helps with the movement of the page and how your eye moves across the design. I'll place my date sticker down there in the bottom left corner. Next, for cutting, I'm going to cut out all these hearts out of the pattern paper, and I'm using 6x6 paper pads from My Mind's Eye. There's several reasons for this. One, the designs, it's small pieces of paper. I don't have to trim them down to fit through the Sizzix. Another reason is a lot of times the designs are scaled down smaller. They're the same designs that are in the bigger papers, the 12x12 papers, but since they are in the 6x6 size, they scale them down smaller. So when you're using smaller die cuts or punches, you get a lot more of that design in your die cut or punched shape, which I really love. So I used just a whole bunch from several different paper pads that I've all linked through the project at 2Ps. And next I'm going to grab a whole bunch of these Doodlebug buttons and just kind of lay them out randomly. I'm just trying to get the basic design of the layout or the different elements on the page before I actually adhere anything down. So I'm just grabbing different buttons and different colors of buttons and laying them out to see kind of what I like before I go ahead and stitch them in place. And I am going to hand stitch all of the buttons in place. You could glue them in place too. I always like the look of the buttons actually being sewn on For me, that's just a personal choice and something that I like the look of. And I really want there to be a lot going on in this particular layout. It's a little bit different from a lot of the designs I do or have been doing in recent weeks. But I like to switch it up every once in a while, and this is just one of those layouts that is really fun to create. I like the repetition of the heart elements and the button elements and the circles. If you can repeat a certain element or a couple of elements, it really helps keep your layout unified, and it just makes everything work in the design. So I kind of have that basically laid out how I want it, and I'm going to grab some of these label stickers from Jilly Bean Soup, and I love this size of label. If you watch any of my videos, you probably notice I use a lot of these labels. These are one of those things that are just staples in my stash because I do use them so much. They work great tucked into different things. They're great for stamping on. They're great for adding dates. I can't say enough good things about these kind of label stickers. They are small enough that they add just that little touch. If you just need just a little something, these kind of label stickers work great. So I'm going to stamp the word brother on this particular label, and then I'm going to grab one of the other words from the September Studio AE stamp set that says my. And I love Ali's stamp sets because they usually come with so many different words, and you can make all kinds of different combinations of phrases and things for your paper crafting projects. So I'm just going to pop that label sticker right there in the center of one of my heart die cuts, and it just dresses up the hearts. Not only does it help reinforce the theme of the page and tell you something about the page, it adds to the embellishment of the page. I like to be able to incorporate pieces that do more than one thing. Again, I'm going to do the same thing with this label sticker, and I'm going to pop that onto another one of the heart die cuts on the page. Kind of helps even everything out. There's a visual triangle between the journaling, the heart that says my sister, and then the heart down in the bottom right corner that says my brother. I like creating those visual triangles on my pages. Now I'm just going to adhere all the pieces down so I can start sewing my buttons in place. And I did put a foam pad underneath my layout so I could poke holes where the buttons are, so that when it went to actually stitching them on, I could remember where they went. I die cut another heart from some ledger paper, and I'm going to stamp a greeting on there, again using the same stamp set. And I'm going to stamp family is, and then I'm going to grab the little word that says precious. Again, you could use all kinds of different combinations of words to make different titles. Then I just trimmed off the top and bottom of that heart a little bit, and I'm going to adhere it right over one of my other die cut hearts. So not only, again, is this my page title, it serves as an embellishment on my page. Just all kind of flows really nicely. I'm going to add a little clip here to one of the hearts, and I tied some ribbon around that same heart. And a few additional embellishments like this help break up the design. Because there's so many hearts and there's so many buttons, it could kind of getting to feel maybe a little, I can't think of the right word, I guess, to say, but a little monotonous maybe. So break it up with a few different embellishments. I added this brad from Amy Tangerine from her American Crafts line that says 2. I added some clips and a little bit of ribbon. Things like that help break up the design a little bit. One of my other very favorite, most often used embellishments, besides the Doodlebug buttons that I've used a lot here on this layout, are the Doodlebug gems. And I use these a lot in my card making as well. They come in tons of colors. You get lots of different sizes, and I have them in all the colors, and I reach for them again and again. They are just a great way to add a little sparkle and shine to a layout, to a card, to anything like that. They're just really fun to use and easy to use. And I like to use a little X-Acto craft knife to pick mine up and place them right on my layout where I want them to go. It just makes it easier than trying to fumble around with them with my fingers. For more information on this layout, please visit twopeasinabucket.com on September 14th, 2011 in the Designer Garden under the From Start to Finish video series. Thanks for watching.